The thing about the Home and Auto Bundle from Progressive is that by now you've heard a lot of ads about the Home and Auto Bundle from Progressive. We don't even need the words the Home and Auto Bundle anymore to tell you that you could save big with the ring-tailed lemur from Progressive, or that every hot peach cobbler comes with round-the-clock service and protection. And that's the thing about the goat with magic powers. You've heard a lot of ads about the sushi in Vancouver. See how much you could save with the Home and Auto with the Shaman in the Jungle from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
Guys, the cat is finally out of the bag, or shall I say the cats are out of the bags. Kunal, after days of rumours and so much speculation, Ferrari, Sauber, Kimi Raikkonen and Charles Leclerc have finally made their announcements.
Yes, guys, hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Inside Line Formula One podcast. But this is already our second episode this week, so you guys are welcome. But Mithila, forget everything else. As a Kimi Raikkonen fan, are you happy or not?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Kunal, I am just thrilled because I was so, scared that he was going to leave Formula One, honestly. He's done it before, he can do it again. And, when Raikkonen actually was confirmed that he's leaving Ferrari, I was distraught for those few minutes in the middle. And then, thankfully, he announced his move to Sauber a few minutes later. And I was so relieved,
Yes, Kimi, you left us for a few minutes and that created havoc for a lot of fans. So please do not ever do this again. And this means please do not ever leave us again.
Yeah, but by the way, Kunal, that fan petition we spoke about for Ferrari to re-sign Kimi Raikkonen, that's still going on.
Okay, so before we continue, here's a quick reminder to subscribe to the Inside Line F1 podcast on Hubhopper, India's very own podcast app. And Hubhopper has a really large directory of shows and unique stories across a variety of genres. So it is HUBHOPPER and it's available for download on the Google Play and the iTunes stores.
Yes, guys, Hubhopper is definitely a good recommendation. Go download it. If you like the app, review it, share it with your friends. You'll know the drill.
So in this week's episode, again this week, but anyway, in this episode, we are going to speak to Charles Leclerc, right? We spoke to him last month. It was in August, and we actually had a bit of a feeling that he could move to Ferrari sooner than everyone else imagined for him to actually do so. And a lot of our questions were Ferrari and Sebastian Vettel focused and specific.
Yes, I think we were literally waiting for this day when we have the Ferrari announcement to play parts of this interview for you guys.
Yes, so the interview is courtesy Viasport, the host broadcaster for Formula One in Norway, and of course, Maria and Mia, the lovely ladies that manage the press office at Sauber.
Yes, Maria and Mia, thank you. And I think your life is only going to get more busy now with Kimi Raikkonen around. Yes, guys, brace for it. And also in this episode, we have the Moments in Time section by Lucien. So guys, there's a lot to look forward to in this show, so please stay tuned. Kunal, do you think Ferrari has done the right thing?
So when you ask the right thing, do you mean letting go of Kimi Raikkonen or hiring of Charles Leclerc?
Okay, I'm going to start with Kimi Raikkonen. So I'd say letting go of Kimi Raikkonen.
Well, frankly, when you think of Ferrari letting go of Kimi Raikkonen, I think they've done the right thing by relieving him of his duties. And I'm a Raikkonen fan. I'm a fan of the driver because I've seen how and what he can do in the car. And of course, I'm a big fan of the personality like you are as well. But I think Raikkonen has been a bit over the cliff, especially for a top seed drive like Ferrari since the last few seasons. So it only made sense to me. And, this high profile and unexpected swap between Charles Leclerc and Kimi Raikkonen isn't necessarily due to Raikkonen's performances alone. It is also due to Charles Leclerc's impressive talent and, of course, Sebastian Vettel's championship performances.
Yeah, and now apart from Mercedes, every other team on the grid literally has a changed lineup for 2019. Pierre Gasly gets his due in Red Bull Racing, and now Charles Leclerc will get his due at Ferrari. And obviously, we don't know about Haas yet, but yeah.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate to see Esteban Ocon miss out yet. And I was really moved when I read his Twitter post, or I don't know if it was an Instagram post, but either way, I wouldn't actually be surprised if Liberty Media had some role to play to ensure that Charles Leclerc gets like this never done before by Ferrari kind of a promotion. And after all, Liberty Media is into hero building. That's a term that's used very frequently in sports broadcast. And also, as we know, they're trying to attract, younger audiences. So all of this could be some sort of a ploy towards those strategies as well.
Yeah, but we also know of Kimi Raikkonen's appeal with the kids.
Of course, but again, I'm only guessing about Liberty Media's involvement because that's like a very Bernie thing to do. And that said, Charles Leclerc's promotion at Ferrari also indicates a very crucial change of attitude at Ferrari. They are supporting Sebastian Vettel's challenge, but now they also feel the need to groom Leclerc for the future because Red Bull is doing that with Verstappen and Mercedes is also doing that with Ocon. So thank you, Ferrari, for opening your eyes finally, something of that sort.
Yeah, I also think that Leclerc's arrival will really put pressure on Vettel. And we honestly have only one season as an example, but we know very well how Sebastian Vettel responds to in-team challenges.
And of course, I wouldn't be surprised if Charles Leclerc is actually permitted to challenge Sebastian Vettel because that's what Ferrari would like to see him do as well. I mean, that's why they're hiring him, right? I mean, if they wanted somebody to not challenge Vettel, they'd have kept Raikkonen. But also with both these drivers, Ferrari will have to cater to their different mindsets. So Vettel, as we already know, is a quadruple world champion. He is out to win his first title with Ferrari, while Charles Leclerc is joining Ferrari to battle with the likes of Max Verstappen as an equal and to claim his first Drivers' Championship title as well.
Yeah, so guys, I've heard the conversation / interview between Kunal and Charles Leclerc. And I can tell you that most of these points have been talked about and it's damn interesting. So please, guys, you all have to listen to this. But Kunal, the other interesting thing that you asked him was about handling the pressure of racing for Ferrari. And I really loved how he pointed out to his mental training program. Very interesting.
Unlike, say, Max Verstappen, who thinks that a sports psychologist isn't really needed. And mind you, we're not taking sides out here. We're just pointing out how our future championship contenders in Formula One come with different trains of thought on how to handle pressure at the top.
And obviously then there was also Jacques Villeneuve's statement about what if Vettel eats up Leclerc in the Ferrari atmosphere. Interesting choice of words, no?
Yeah, and I think that's always going to be a concern for all of us. But I would assume that Ferrari will be out to protect Leclerc because they know that in Leclerc's progress, there is actually progress for Ferrari in the future.
Okay, guys, just some quick points before we play out Kunal's conversation with Leclerc. So the Leclerc-Raikkonen swap could potentially mean that Haas's headache of choosing between Magnussen and Grosjean is put off for another year. So basically, Grosjean has another year to save his ass.
Yes, I would assume that Grosjean's seat is safe for another year.
And I think that also means that Grosjean's plans of turning chef, as he told us in the interview, are delayed for now. I mean, if I were Romain Grosjean, I would never talk of quitting Formula One because honestly, there are just so many other people talking of Grosjean's exit from Formula One that it's just so funny that Grosjean himself talks about it,
Yeah, maybe he just feels secure in a very weird sense of way, and maybe we don't, but for him in that case. But so here's my discussion with Leclerc from a few weeks ago. Clearly, the deals were still being put in place back then. And nothing was announced or was certain. But let's have you guys hear what I got to speak to Leclerc all about. Right, so you were always at the center of the 2018 silly season. There were rumors that Charles would go to Ferrari, etc., etc. When are you going to make your announcement?
I wish I could reply that question, but to be honest, for now I have no proper answers. Obviously, there has been no talks for now. I just came back from holidays where I relaxed for a bit in Bali and did not speak about motorsport at all. So now we are coming to coming back to business, we will speak. We'll see, and I hope to let you know as soon as possible. But for now, unfortunately, I have nothing to give you.
But are you really trying to say that Charles Leclerc does not know where he's going to race in 2019? Or do you know and you don't want to tell?
No, that's exactly. I mean, I'm honest. I really don't know where I'm going to race. I should be in the Formula 1 paddock. I really hope so. That would be a very bad surprise. But to know where exactly in the Formula 1 paddock I have no idea.
That's kind of you. So there are about 12 cockpits that still remain for 2019. And I'm sure you've kept a track of the shuffle. I mean, we didn't really have a break because other drivers made announcements during the break. But out of these 12 cockpits, if you could just choose any, okay, which one would it be?
If I was the one to choose, I can't lie. I will choose the red one, Ferrari. I mean, since I've started in motorsport, I've always dreamed of being one day a Formula 1 driver, and even more a Ferrari driver. I've always been a huge fan of the Scuderia, so if I had one seat to choose, it would be this one.
And then who would you choose as your teammate then?
To be honest, anybody. I have no preference at all. I mean, if I'm in the red seat, then it's all fine.
So Sebastian Vettel, of course, said that you need to be patient for your drive at Ferrari. What do you make of that comment? Is Vettel trying to say something to you, or how did you react to that?
Well, I mean, Seb has always spoke about me in a very nice manner and always said very positive things about me, and this is always an honor for me to hear that from such a driver. Then obviously he said that I can take my time, which is completely right, because I am only 20 years old for now, which is pretty young, and I only have to agree with that.
Yeah. But Jacques Villeneuve then said that Vettel would eat you up alive in Ferrari, and that's why Ferrari might not give you a promotion this early. So do you think you can handle driving for a big racing team alongside a superstar if that chance would come?
Well, I mean, I think for me it can only be positive. To drive with such a driver next to me, I can only learn from Seb, and it can only be good for me, for my knowledge, and to just know how a big team and how Seb is working with them, and I can only learn things from him. So then in terms of performance, I mean, it's impossible to know anything because we have never been teammates and never been in the same car, so it's always difficult to say anything about this. But as I said, I think I will learn a lot from him.
So since you mentioned the word performance, let's come to 2018 and your stellar drives that you had with Sauber. It's been a phenomenal debut. You've heard everyone say it. You don't just need me to say it. So if you were to describe your season with Sauber in one word, what would that word be?
Progression, probably. I mean, we've started the season where I was struggling to go in Q2, and to be honest, I had a very poor pace in qualifying, not because of the car, because of myself only. I worked quite hard, obviously, very hard, I would say, and then in Baku, finally I understood a lot of things, how the car works, how it has to be driven, and we really did a big step forward. And then since then we really improved races after races, going into Q3, scoring points at most of the races when we were not DNF. So it has been a very good season, and that's definitely why it was actually over my expectations for this year.
Right. And we've seen Sauber have phenomenal debutants like Felipe Massa was there, and Kimi Raikkonen, and now yourself. So what is the one big thing that you've learned in your really short but seemingly very successful time at Sauber?
Well, I have learned so much that it's difficult to pick one of those things. But I think Sauber is extremely good at knowing what are the things you need to really focus on once you are a rookie. You come from Formula 2 or GP2 in the past, where things are very different. They are not as pushed as in Formula 1, and more the years passes, bigger the difference is, because bigger the systems are in Formula 1 and more complex they are. So there are a lot of things to learn, and they definitely know how to tell to the driver where to focus on the main important points, and that has been the key for this year, I think, for me, that I focused on the right areas, and they were here to help me for that.
Perfect. And the last question, you mentioned you're 20 years old and you're still young, but how are you dealing with all this fame and adulation that's coming your way?
I mean, I don't know. Fame for now, it's actually quite fine. I'm not so famous yet, so.
Do you get mobbed on the streets at times?
Yeah, in Monaco, but it's not like I'm a superstar. So this is fine, but then obviously there's a lot of pressure. But for me, you don't get better at handling the pressure once you are 30 years old than once you are 20. Or you are good at it, or you can't handle it. And for me, it's an error for the people to think that with the age you get better at this. You can definitely get better at other things, but if you handle the pressure, once you arrive in Formula 1, you will handle the pressure anywhere. I think my mental strength has been my weak point 10 years ago, but I've worked extremely hard on it, and obviously with the events that unfortunately I've had to suffer in the last 2 years, it has made me grown a lot, and I think now that my mental strength is actually my biggest strength. Wow. which is I think very important for Formula 1, and I believe that if you don't have this mental strength, you can't really succeed, because with all the pressure you have around you, if you are not strong mentally, it's quite easy to fall down.
Right. So since you mentioned you worked on it, any specific ways in which you worked on building a mental strength? Did you work with a sports psychologist or something?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I was in Formula Medicine very, very early. That has learned me many things. It's quite difficult to go into details because it's quite pushed. But then also with the Ferrari Drivers Academy, they are working a lot on the mental side, and that has helped me massively. So yeah, with both of these programs, I've managed to grow a lot.
Perfect, Charles. Thank you very much. Here's
No
to
problem.
you becoming a superstar. And
Kunal, very interesting conversation, and the red car is what he wanted, and the red car is what he'll have next year. It's such a dream come true, yeah?
yes, and Leclerc was quick to thank Jules Bianchi and his father for their support. But I also now wonder how Sebastian Vettel feels about Leclerc's promotion, especially when Vettel said just a few weeks back that Leclerc needs to be more patient, or needs to be patient for his Ferrari drive.
I really like the word progression. That's well selected as always. Thank you guys. Thank you Sundaram. Thank you Lucien, Ajit, Lay and Graham for your interview inputs. They were really helpful.
Absolutely. We love asking questions from the community. And up next now is Lucien's Moments in Time section. And as you guys already know, Lucien is an avid listener of our show. He is a professional musician himself, a big Formula One fan, and you can actually listen to his music on Bandcamp.
Welcome to Moments in Time on the Inside Line with Lucien Byfield. Today we discuss the Singapore Grand Prix. The inaugural Singapore Grand Prix in 2008 was the first ever night race in Formula One history, and one concern, given the use of lights, was the possible dilemma of vision in the event of rain, something we wouldn't see for a very long time. With the concept of any publicity is good publicity, the first race was marred by Crashgate, where we saw Nelson Piquet Jr. deliberately crash, ensuring Alonso had a chance to win. My most vivid memory of that weekend was seeing Alonso's frustration when he broke down in qualifying. He had not won since leaving McLaren, and he clearly fancied his chances that weekend. I won't relate what we all should know, but I do not believe for a minute that Fernando was out of the loop regarding the Piquet decision. One thing I have never agreed with though is how Felipe Massa blamed this race for costing him the championship, blaming Piquet. Sorry Felipe, little Felipe, it was your team not handling pressure, leaving the fuel hose in your car as you drove off. I think Hungary cost you the title, or maybe your terrible drive in the UK. Michael Schumacher twice tested his old age and reflexes on this track. In 3 attempts, he was engaged in 2 devastating accidents, clearly proving he had lost his edge, rear-ending other drivers in spectacular crashes. As with many of his moves in his career, he was lucky he didn't kill someone or himself. 2009 saw Timo Glock get one of his best ever results in the ever-promising Toyota, with 2nd place. Oh, so close. Hamilton won and Fernando came 3rd, proving that this was a track he was good at. 2010 saw some amazing footage with Heikki Kovalainen grabbing a fire extinguisher and trying to put out his on-fire Lotus that he had conveniently parked on the straight. Fernando won again, this time in a Ferrari, and it was a killer race between him and Vettel. But seeing Webber strong-arm Hamilton and come off best was the highlight for me. 2012 saw the incredible Pastor Maldonado qualify 2nd on the grid, but it was all about Vettel for 3 years in a row. 2013, like many of the years at this track, it was a bit boring, but the highlight was seeing Mark Webber get picked up by Alonso at the end. Great footage, but it cost him a fine. 2014 saw a ban on radio communications, and we saw Nico Rosberg need them as he had start-line gremlins, costing him a shot at the 25 points, letting Hamilton win and close up the championship, which had been looking good for Nico. Nico never made a big deal about this, and he never did when he had reliability issues, unlike his high-profile teammate. 2015 saw Sebastian Vettel win for the 4th time, but this time in a Ferrari, with Mercedes having a strange off-form weekend. But the race is remembered for a spectator walking on the track, bringing out a safety car. 2016 gave us one of the best finishes, with Ricciardo almost getting an on-form Nico Rosberg. This was one of the truly great drives from Rosberg in what turned out to be his championship-winning and final season. 2017 is remembered for all the wrong reasons too, with a race promising so much, with Hamilton a bit down on the grid. But carnage at the front, where Vettel, Kimi and Max all came together, collecting Fernando too, all allowed Lewis one of his many lucky and easily unchallenged wins. But we had a wet race for the first time, and there were no issues with visibility, although Vettel on pole clearly didn't use his mirrors. That's it for Moments in Time on the Inside Line with Lucien Byfield. Catch you again.
Thank you, Lucien. And Kunal, just some quick closing notes. I have to ask you what your predictions are for Singapore.
Well, I think both the Ferraris will finish ahead of Lewis Hamilton. This will spice up the championship battle because we keep talking of the battle all the time. It's 30 points and I have a feeling it's going to swing another way. But this time I don't think I can say which Ferrari will finish ahead of which, because clearly I don't really see Kimi Raikkonen necessarily listening to team orders.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a rebel on track. And but I think I'm going to go with a similar prediction. Maybe with Vettel finishing ahead of Raikkonen. I don't know. I don't know anything anymore, But, guys, I know this has been a long but really interesting episode. So we're just going to leave out the What Toto Wolff said this week section for a little later, because this is all about Ferrari and Raikkonen, I think.
And Leclerc and Sauber.
Fine, him too.
But, we actually played out your What Toto Wolff said this week section in our episode from 3 days ago. So technically, you're safe for this week.
I'll let Mr. Wolff know.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. We are going to have a lot more content for you in the week after Singapore. So remember to tune back in. Adios.
Me, but also you. The Pharaoh fast forwards his favorite foreign film, Powder Donut. Okay, what's my line?
The only line I see here on the script is get options based on your budget with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive.
Oh man, that's a tongue twister, huh? I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a few more minutes. Bulbous Walrus, the Bulbous Walrus.
The Name Your Price tool, only from Progressive.
The owl ran afoul of the comatose coxswain.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.